Hello, everyone. Hello, Internet. This is JR.
This is Leon. Welcome to
Yeah,
the
and today.
Spider Verse. Ooh, the Spider Noir. Have you watched Spider Noir?
No, is it on Netflix?
No, it's on Amazon Prime. It's got that one weird looking dude. He's good in movies. Nicholas Cage, I think. Yeah.
Okay, that's fun. I know Amazon Prime has been producing a lot of bangers this year with like Invincible, The Boys finale, so I'm gonna add that on my watch list actually.
Uh, Invincible
Spider-Man
was
Noir.
pretty good. In the middle, and I know this
Good.
is completely off topic. In the middle was a little mushy. Season three, not a big fan of it, but at the
For me, it was
end,
season two.
it was good. Yeah, season two and three, I thought it was kind of mediocre, but season one I loved, and season four is just like so much like goodness to it. So I'm into it.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you got into it. All right, so for this episode, we're kind of gonna be all over the place. So we want to talk about perpetuals are coming to the US thanks to the CFTC, and this is actually going to be a pretty big deal for Hyperliquid, Coinbase, Kalshi, possibly Polymarket if once they get their once they're able to finally do a lot of more business here because you can only do like sports trading and some politics, but not like as much as you can with Kalshi. So also, compared to going back to Kalshi, they're doing the power index, the American power index. That's pretty cool. We want to go over that. They have their Bitcoin powered perpetuals now, so that's pretty cool. It kind of sounds like they're taking the angle of Hyperliquid, so I want to see more into that today and maybe get into the app as well. And then for the last topic, we want to talk about agents, trading crypto, trading anything with agents. There was a $12.3 million scam reported by the SEC this morning as of recording. So it's kind of a big deal. This guy, he defrauded, investors, 150 of them. I think it's a pretty big deal considering where the trajectory of the industry is moving. Like Robinhood released, Agent, MCP, Base did the same thing. We're kind of on the same space at this point, so I think it's a pretty big deal, and something I want to share my concerns about. But yeah, without further ado, if you like what you're watching, subscribe to the channel. It costs you nothing. It helps us grow. We've reached almost 300 subscribers in the last month, so that's amazing. Um, do you have any shout outs, Leon? Anything?
No shout outs. Like, subscribe mainly. Leave a comment.
Cool, thanks. All right, so let's talk about Kalshi then, I suppose, or I guess the perpetuals. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm such an idiot. I completely forgot about the Clarity Act.
Yeah, let's talk about that and Mister
Yeah.
Scourge of crypto that turned to like it, Jamie Dimon.
Yeah, so I guess that's where we'll start it. So the other day I was on Twitter, like as terminally online as I am normally. There's been some developments on the Clarity Act. I mean, at this point, it's like, dude, I already passed the Senate, or no, it's going to the Senate, but I already passed the House of Representatives.
Yeah, and I think it
It's
came out of
like,
the Senate committee too, so it's working
yeah.
its way through the system.
Let me see if I can find a video. I brought
I
the
think
video
it's
up right
how
here.
a bill works. What's the high school rock like? What's the rock songs about how Congress works?
Well, I wonder who that sad little scrap of paper is.
Okay, so I know Schoolhouse Rock.
Yeah, and
That's a fun
we
movie.
should make a Schoolhouse Rock AI video of the crypto drama with this Clarity Act. That would be a very good
Okay.
meta. I'm gonna play with that later.
See if Corey can do something fun with that. If you're watching this, Corey. All right. So I found the interview. This is with Jamie Dimon. This is with Bitcoin Magazine. Let me know if you cannot hear my audio.
Could be anyone's
I can
wallet.
hear it.
And it goes wallet, the fourth wallet. So the first one may be legitimate, second one may be a sex trafficker. So, this is it's complicated, and the government needs to do it thoughtfully. If they don't do it thoughtfully, it'll be a huge problem.
So are you happy with the way the Clarity Act is turning out?
No, no, because it allows them to effectively pay interest on deposits, stable coins or something like that, without the protection that they should have. And it doesn't do anything for AML BSA. It has almost no legal protections. So no, the banks will not accept it that way.
They won't
And the ABA, the small banks, the credit unions, not just the big guys. I'm not worried about stablecoin, but if it happened, I'm telling you, I would have nothing to do with it, and it would eventually blow up on its own. Okay, but that's my personal thing. But I do understand the concern of all the other banks. So,
well, the markup is coming. I mean, what are you going to do about it?
it is. We'll fight it. If we lose, we lose, and we'll live.
Okay.
But it will be fought. This will not be. No one's going to bow down to this guy, okay, or that company. And he's the only one.
Yeah.
And he's spending hundreds of millions of dollars in Washington this thing.
He said he's representing the whole
industry. Full of shit.
Yeah, bro.
Well, we're going to watch that one.
She was even surprised. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I mean, this is turning into a big fight between the whole, industry. You're talking about blockchain and getting blockchain out.
But we do blockchain.
You've been doing that for a long
We
time.
have connections. We have.
Okay, I'm just gonna end it there because it at that point.
It's shocking. I love that, but
So does that mean they're gonna fuck or something? Like, what's the deal?
yeah. So essentially, the main character beats the crap out of the other guy, and you got to watch it. But
You may want to look up what the show's about, Brian. I love that. I was so thrown off when I saw it. I was like, they fuck, right? Like, is that what you're gonna do? Are you gonna get him?
like he did. Yeah, it's a fun like jab thing. So. I still think it's interesting. It's a funny meme, but I think overall, Jamie Dimon, I understand what he's saying about the protections and the safety of it all, but truthfully, man,
Yeah, dude.
The big banks get away with so much fraud, so many problems. They then just pay a mediocre fine and nobody respects them, nobody likes them anymore. And I think the banks see the crypto stuff as something they need to adopt as like an infrastructure upgrade, and they want to do it in their way and their flavor. And anything that jeopardizes their financial system, their FX and all of that is where they're pushing back on.
Honestly, I see what you're saying, and there's a lot of memes on the internet how you compare crypto bros in the last maybe decade compared to like the last few years. People in the last decade, they were like, I mean, I'm sure Corey can pull it up or something for us, but back then people would be all about decentralization, no governance, and then now it's like, when is the next big company going to release the ETF, or when is the next meme coin going to go boom? So it's like, you cannot always have that same mindset you'd had in the last decade, but also, I mean, the degeneracy about the meme coins recently, like, there's got to be a middle ground. Like, I mean, the last month we were covering a bunch of attacks in DeFi, and some of our prospective customers we were talking to, they were like, yeah, I don't know if I want to trust your product if you're on DeFi, because there's almost no guarantee that once my money is lost I can get it back, because there's no insurance and nothing that can guarantee protection. I mean, it was insane. It was like DeFi was dying last month for a while, and even earlier this month. So I see Jamie Dimon's point. That's as far as it goes. To your point, like, banks are also so shady, dude. Like, who are gonna get fucked by over the most? Banks, hackers on crypto. People pick their poison, and I would take my chances with crypto either way. However, I am hopeful that there's going to be some sort of framework for any crypto provider that is in favor of builders to be able to protect consumers as well. And I'm sure the technology is only going to get better, especially Mythos is coming out for everyone at some point. So I don't know how that will go, but I'm hoping that, at least developers will be able to catch a lot of security bugs that can help mitigate DeFi attacks.
Yeah, I do think there needs to be some sort of monetary protection for deposits that are in stable coins, but also the reason banks have any sort of protections because it's a government currency. Stable coins are not a government currency. They're backed by T-bills, they're backed by all of that, but like,
true.
It's a weird gray zone of like, I don't know if the government should provide protection for that, but yet at the same time, if a bank fails and all that money goes away, like normal consumers lose. Like there's got to be some sort of protection, but also how do you do that in a safe way that's not just government overreach and overregulation?
I think our biggest fuck up was just getting off the gold standard. Like the dollar is just worth as much as toilet paper is in theory. We need to tokenize the dollar, like have a government tokenized asset. That's what I've been wanting for the last since I got into crypto. I'm like, maybe this will be the end game, but I mean, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, but I think the bad of the gold standard was the economic rigidity of it. Like it prevented central banks from injecting money into the economy during recessions. So COVID, if we had COVID
Oh
and we had a
yeah,
gold standard, like we would have been possibly crushed. And then
right.
like there was also like the bad of like deflationary spirals. Like a shortage of gold could cause widespread deflation, vulnerability to shocks. Like there was a lot of bad in the gold. But when you did decouple it from the gold, the only thing that's supporting the US dollar now is the United States military. And I always say this is like the military is the value of our
Yep,
dollar.
you're not wrong.
It is, it's just like a Roman Empire in the past. Like, why is all of their stuff worth something? It was like, because it's the Roman Empire. The United States is the same way.
Um,
It's, not good, not bad. I think it's just the way. And I think we're the most good out of any, society that's been around, like in all of history. Like, if you look back to the Mayans, to anybody else, the Romans, like the amount of bad things everyone did, it always was bad, but I think theirs was for conquering and ours is for, trying to keep people safe for the most part.
well, I still think America is the best country on earth, despite whatever Peter Thiel might do moving to Argentina. It's pretty much Rome back in the day, in my opinion. Not to, I think it's a very high testosterone conversation when you're talking about the Roman Empire, but that's besides my point. But in order to express gratitude for America, I mean, whatever. Let me say that again. You can cut that, Corey. But, I still think this is the best country on earth. However, speaking of best country on earth, did you know that Perpetuals are finally coming back to America? Or I don't know if they
I,
were ever here.
yeah, I don't know if they were ever here. I saw it. Like, I feel like it's a positive. There's so many crypto tools out there that have just been limited to us for, better part of 5, 6 years. And I'm so glad that it's finally starting to come back. You don't have to have a VPN. You don't have to kind of finagle your way around.
Okay. So I think it all started this week when the CFTC approves the BTC perp contract submitted by Koshi. It's pretty cool how they're an LLC. Like, I wonder, well, they probably have a parent company that's Delaware C or something, and then they have the exchange that's an LLC. So,
Probably like Alphabet, like Google's an LLC
yeah.
in the end.
Yeah, probably should be sharing my screen as I'm talking about this. So I found this post, and it's from Solana Floor, and it pretty much just says what I just read. They made their submission. It's pretty interesting. I think you mentioned, before we went live that Brian Armstrong corrected this. They weren't the first approved perp in America. Is that right?
I
Maybe we can look
maybe
that up.
they're the first, but they're not the only one, is what Brian Armstrong was kind of trying to say.
Okay, so that's
Yeah, because I
fair.
went and looked.
Okay, that's fine. I almost stopped for a moment. This was actually easy. I was like, "Hey, yo, this guy's coming out here." Um, will regulated perps be the next trillion-dollar market? Absolutely. I mean, day trading, you have more success doing perps than trading stocks or meme coins. So it could be worthwhile, and people are comparing prediction markets with meme coins, with ETFs, or, there's a lot of ways to invest and to day trade. Obviously, investing will probably net you more than day trading, but I think perps are going to be the next prediction markets here in America. Like everyone's going to be doing it. It has that
Yeah.
stickiness to it where you're like shorting or longing something. And if you use products like Phantom Wallet, they do have their perps there. One thing that's really cool is it has this little onboarding system. I could probably, well, I don't know if I'll be able to share it here right now, but because I have it as an extension. But my point is, you know, UI UX is so easy to make right now because of cloud apps like vibe coding. So I think this is gonna be like the next big thing, aside from like the next big thing that comes in the financial market after prediction markets.
I could see this actually becoming the main thing. Like, I think prediction
Yeah,
markets are going to have a reckoning at some point. Everyone's saying how bad they are. People are, defending it. And I think Koshi is looking at the future of where things might go. And perpetuals are an actual, like an actual, like, it's a real thing that is not just a bet. Like you can do this stuff. It's a little bit like traditional futures, but traditional futures don't have. Sorry, traditional futures have an end date. Perpetuals don't have an end date. So
okay,
that's how they
true.
end. So you can hold a position in perpetuals indefinitely, and I think that is the closest to actual finance tools. Whereas prediction markets, in a lot of
Yeah,
ways, are they're not an actual prediction market. It's not like Mark Cuban, where when he got bought up by Yahoo, he shorted and called on the stock. If he could
so
do
you're
stuff like
saying
that,
when you're saying when he did that, that was like a proxy of a prediction market.
sort of like it is a proxy of prediction market, but also if he was if there was a prediction market for would Yahoo buy his company, like he couldn't do that because he had insider knowledge. Like the whole thing
True.
about like prediction markets and the original pitch was they were supposed to be a hedge on stuff. So like if you go book a vacation in Miami, you go, hey, there's going to be a hurricane, you place money on it, so when you do have a hurricane, you recoup your money. Like that was kind of the pitch, and now it's not really that. It's turned into like, oh, is there going to be a war, and or oh, hey, are we going to do this? Is this person gonna do this or say that? It's really just gambling masked as something. And I think there is real usages for the prediction markets, but I think they're being marketed as like a make money and pay your rent, which is like very predatory.
Can you repeat the last part about the rent one?
Like Koshi is running ads that say, "Hey, make rent." Like bet on prediction, markets.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, fintech is the most highly regulated one besides healthcare because you're obviously dealing with people's livelihoods. So I can see them getting in trouble for that. But also, I mean, we're in the new administration where everything is legal, so it's probably gonna
Yeah, anything
take a while
goes.
until that happens. It's all fair game. If you have the deepest pockets, it's all fair game. But in any case, I thought that was pretty cool. It's still on wait. I'm on the wait list, so we'll see what happens. I thought it was something worth mentioning just because I love trading on prediction markets and sports betting on the Spurs. I'm hoping they win. The game's gonna be later on today as of us streaming it, so I'm hoping they win. Um, Let us know in the comments who you think might win and why, if you're watching it, if you're watching this. Okay, so while we're still on Kalshi, I wanted to talk about the American Power Index, which I thought it was fun how Luana made a comment the way she wanted to position it. It was like Kapow, like a comic book. Um,
Really.
I cannot find the post. Yeah, it was just something fun that she tried to do, which I respect the effort. Here it is. All right. So this is it. Like this happened a few days ago, like Wednesday, I think, or
Mm,
Thursday.
yeah, kapow,
So
kapow.
yeah, the Koshi Power Index, or I see the effort. Yeah, so Kaoshi American Power Index. So what's this about? It tracks the shifting balance of power between Democrats and Republicans, backed by our data. That's actually kind of interesting. I like that. I know I said that the first time I looked at it too. So let's see if Grok can break it down a little bit more. I mean, it just talks about it being launched. Kapow. Okay, yeah, so I guess we're calling it Kapow still. It blends 75% forward-looking market signal on future controls with 25% current office holder data on 50 plus D for Democrat and 50 plus R for Republican scale, showing a sharp swing toward Republicans in May 2026 with the latest reading near plus 2.5 R for Republican. This index offers a tradable lens on policy uncertainty and political shifts, drawing interest for its potential to price power dynamics faster than polls while enabling hedging of election related risks. Honestly, this is probably the best thing I've seen yet. Like so dead ass about this. I really like this. You're not gonna see this shit anywhere outside of America. Let's see.
So,
Go ahead.
so I hold on. Let me look something up.
While you're doing that, some comments. We really turned democracy into a ticker symbol. Let's fucking do 1 minute markets on this. How long until a senator gets caught front running their own legislation? Oh my god. That's probably something I didn't think about before, but like I can see politicians hedging on this. There's a lot of insider trading already, which, with stocks, it's already going to get banned, I suppose, but I don't know if that's going to extend to everything in the markets. But man, I
Yeah.
definitely
So
see this
what I
as a
went to go
ticker.
look real quick on is like
Sure.
how they're doing this. Um,
Okay.
there's a word. It's called salience. I believe I'm pronouncing it right. It's like ambiguity. So, it's like, let me look it up real quick because explaining the word is
That's fine. So I have
salience
Grok.
refers to the state of quality of being prominent, noticeable, or standing out relative to its environment.
I don't have a financial background, but is that like a financial thing? Um,
Salience? No, it's a psychology, neuroscience. Like the reason why
okay.
I know it is a marketing term. It's likelihood of a brand standing out in consumers' mind or in a cluttered market.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm saying though. There's like a salience ambiguity to it. Like it's using a proprietary system to adjust weights based on event salience. So it's trying to weight an event based on what it thinks, but they don't publicly elaborate on exactly how this formula is calculated. I think,
I believe it.
and I understand why they might not want to do this, but I think they
Right.
should release all of this. Like Elon Musk got ripped to shreds saying that Twitter was leaning Democrat. The algorithm was silencing Republican voices, all of that. Whether it was true or not, it became like the whole like shtick about why he bought Twitter and everything. I think if Koshi wants to look completely like just that this is an unbiased thing,
Unbiased.
they need to do some more public elaboration on exactly how this formula is calculated, because I I do want to see that, because I do think that there might be flawed or hidden weighting. Like the index gives similar weights to various political markets despite wild differences in like these trading markets. And then in addition to that, like it can cause opinions of like a few traders on low volume markets, like shutdowns and stuff, to disproportionately outweigh high volume markets control of the house, because they're using
Okay.
their market data to then essentially do that. So what I'm saying is some of these low value, low volume markets can outweigh a high volume market possibly.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Like, I think they should have definitely put out there. It's like people who, I don't know, maybe this might be a little bit of a far stretch, but it's like when Apple made the M1, they kind of told you how it was made. Like, we put the system in chip with like the GPU, CPU, everything in there. Anyone who knows about that can also replicate it. Like building chips
Yeah.
is, something anyone could do if they wanted to. But like,
Well,
maybe this is
I
a
I
little bit
think
more
that's a
case
flawed
sensitive.
example because the
Yeah, I
reason
figured.
Apple can do the chips so well is they controlled the whole stack, you know, and in many ways, Koshi does share the whole stack. But let me show you real quick, like what I mean here. So this is a really good article about it. Similar weights, wildly different volumes.
Jamie Dimon.
Presidential race here. Kapow weights 18%, but look at the trading volume. Like, $500,000, but control of house, 13 million volume. This is outweighting that. And then that has the same weight as this, you know?
Hmm.
And then shutdown this year has the same weight as this, if not more weight than that. That shouldn't be the way. Like what I'm saying is there could be a flawed index to this.
No, I see what you're saying. Like the inflow is a little bit contradicting, especially with the control of the house and the house seats
Yeah, because
and
then
the
you could
presidential
go
race.
essentially control the market by putting $500,000 on the presidential race one way and possibly swing the whole KPOW index very quickly with looking at
Yeah.
trading volume out here.
I mean, I guess it's kind of like a ETF, or is it like an index? Kind of like the Coinbase index, where it has like the top 50 tokens by market cap. If suddenly one of the tokens, like let's say if,
Yeah,
because
it's
most
like
of
the
it's on
S&P
Bitcoin.
500, 100%. Nvidia makes up the thing. So when Nvidia dips, the whole fucking
Yes.
index dips. But this is
Yeah, yeah.
exactly
So,
it. However,
yep.
nobody anymore really believes that the S&P 500 is a representation of the economy. Like to some
Not
traders it
anymore.
is, but it is not a representation of the actual economy. And my point here is that
Well,
all of this could become a very big part. And here, look, the weight based on salience. Like I had
yeah.
to go Google it because I was like, I know salience, more or less means being, quality of prominence or something, but I was like, I've never, known the full term. But this is my concern is
Yeah.
you could come in here, put $1 million one way and swing this market pretty heavily because this weight is here. I think they need to weight it off of trading volume too and have some sort of like mathematical formula to factor in all of that so that control of house should probably have way more weight here. It should probably be 30%, maybe 40%, you know?
Yeah, like it's not as stable. I think the things that are the least stable in this index were the presidential one, and I forgot the other one that
The
was
shutdown
there.
this year. It didn't have enough volume. You could swing the volume like these if you could put $5 million on a presidential race in one way, you could in theory, swing the market, cash out early and still make up your money on by losing some money on a presidential race because there's just not enough volume yet.
Okay, yeah. So I think you mentioned that you 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 broke that down pretty good because like this is very high level stuff, and most people reading this are gonna be like, "Oh, it's cool. I can now like trade on politics more with like this index, which is amazing. Like I like it a lot. I think it's a very cool thing. It's a very innovative thing. You've never seen this before, um, but maybe
Yes,
it needs
I
a little bit more
I agree
adjustments.
with
I
it.
think I just think it. I mean, these guys are, to some degree, they're the experts, right? Like you become the expert if by you building a product, whatever it is, you become an expert at it if you're convicted enough. And I think these people are by all means, they're the professionals. But I wonder, I wonder what influenced the formula. Like, I mean, it kind of breaks it down there, but like the formula itself, like you mentioned, like there's still a lot of questions that need to be answered, and I think they should probably come forward and maybe in Koshi Research or one of their conferences be like, hey, yeah, so this is why we're building it and why not,
They have
and
some of
everything.
this out there on here on Koshi Research. So there is a fact sheet. There is, information and a white paper that you could
Uh
get.
huh.
But I believe you have to email and request this stuff.
Okay.
So like I've emailed them earlier today for the fact sheet and then for the white paper because I am actually kind of interested on how they're doing that. Um, and again, it's about volume here. Like this is not a very high volume thing, and I really do think somebody could come in here and influence this pretty heavily to Democrat
Yes.
with maybe $1 million to $3 million, maybe, you know.
Yeah. Honestly, this could easily influence elections as we know it. Like we were talking about it earlier. Gerrymandering is already a pretty big deal, but like, well, I mean, there's a lot of things, not just gerrymandering, but that's the first thing that came to mind. But there's a lot of big things, especially with prediction markets. I think that was probably the most talked about thing during the 2024 elections for the president. I think this is going to be the new relevance with it, and
Yeah.
I mean it's a fucking mess when you're talking about elections, but like this is going to be it's going to be an interesting election later this year for the what are they called again? The my mind is blanking. The elections happening in between, like the 2 year elections. What are they called again? Um, God, I'm a dumbass.
Midterms.
Yeah, there you go. The midterms.
Okay.
Thanks. Yeah, we'll see what happens with the midterms. I'm actually looking forward to it. I'm betting and I'm hedging and I'm doing everything as far as all that
Yeah.
goes, which is all fun. But something that is not fun that I kind of want to talk about in the end here is the Nathan Fuller scam with Privy. Uh, I think it's Privy.
I
So
think, is it
the
privy or
TLDR
privy? We're probably
has
neither of
two,
us are pronouncing it right, but I thought it was
probably.
privy.
Okay, I'm gonna say Privy. It sounds better because it has two V's. Um, so the TLDR is this guy. The name is Nathan Fuller. I could never find a picture anywhere. I don't know if you can find it, but he lived in Texas, in Cypress, and he was operating with his Wyoming entity that was made in 2023. Um, the timeline goes from October 2022 to mid 2022 to 24. He raised $12.3 million dollars from 150 investors. The pitch was mostly centered around investors signed joint venture agreements promising proprietary AI based trading bots for high frequency arbitrage across platforms, which is kind of interesting. When I read AI based trading bots, I was like, is he doing like three commas,
Yeah.
Shrimpy, or some formula based trading bot, or was it like agenic? But based on the timeline, it's very much what I first said. So the claim guaranteed returns 100+% in as little as 21 days or 40 to 50% routinely, which I'm like, dude, if anyone tells you guaranteed returns, huge red flag. Like,
Hmm.
I don't know, like maybe people are not, those people weren't the brightest, and unfortunately they pay the price. But the SEC
I think
rolled
it's a
recently
greed
with the,
thing, like every time you hear that, the greed gets to you and you get in a precarious situation, and then nobody taught them those things. Like there's always new prey to kind of prey upon. Like I do think it's a little bit more of ignorance than stupidity, but it's just unfortunate.
yep. So I asked Grok all this, what I'm telling you. The SEC charges are actually like relevant, like more recent. It violates the Securities Act with all these fucking sections. It seeks injunction, disgorgement, and penalties. Disgorgement is that how you pronounce it? I'm ESL, so that's my
Oh
excuse because I
man,
don't know how to pronounce words.
disgorgement. I've never seen that one. I don't even know what that word is.
All right, we're gonna find out.
Yeah, let's Google that one real quick because I'm not sure.
we're learning words today. I already forgot the last one. Disgorgement is
Salience.
illegal. Yes, salience. Thank you. Um, tells you I didn't really learn much from it. Disgorgement is a legal remedy where a wrongdoer is forced to give up profits obtained through illegal or unethical acts. Okay, so totally valid. I'm glad they're doing that. It makes sense. Going
Oh,
back
I
to
didn't.
this,
It's kind of like reparations to some
yeah,
regard.
exactly. I guess it's a
Disgorgement.
fancier way of saying reparations because that's
It's a
what I was
legal
thinking.
word.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So, why this scam worked, red flags to highlight, according to Grok. AI hype exploitation, it promised black box tech that sounded futuristic and low risk. I mean, I believe it. Guaranteed returns is always a massive red flag, but yet these people still giving money. So I'm like, I don't know, dude. I mean, Darwinism is still a thing. If you're falling for this scam, I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. Fake credentials, bogus insurance, FDIC claims. Okay, so I guess that's probably fair. Because, well, no, I mean that's not true. I mean, sorry, I'm just thinking. My ADHD is fucking on the roof right now. I have a bad habit of talking as I'm thinking, so you'll get my gibberish. I mean, let me ask you, Leon. You've talked. You and I met at Geekdom. We were talking about startups, and you've probably seen more startups than I ever have before. Um, how does one, if you're raising money, how does one get away with guaranteeing returns and they back it up with whatever bullshit? Like, do you think they're just really good at sales at that point? Like, how did this person get away with it? Is what I'm trying to get at. Does that make sense?
I run into this a lot where the person is so charismatic. There's actually a word for it. Charismatic and manipulative. It's like man, what is the word? I'll find it.
Okay.
Machiavellian. It's Machiavellian. A person that is
Okay.
like that, they're just charismatic and manipulative. Like their whole personality is about doing that. They're slick. They're sociopathic. They're narcissistic. They're calculating. All those things, and I think you have to be that to be a founder in some ways. However, these people are often like overtly, maybe even covertly, like tricking people into it. Like they might not be explicitly saying that there's going to be returns, like oh, I'm going to get you 1,000%, but they're more or less like, hey, your money's safe. Like there's nothing to worry about. Like you're going to get returns. Like look at this in the past. Like doing all of it, but oftentimes something that's too good to be true is often too good to be true. Like if somebody's
Okay.
telling you, give me $1,000 and I'll get you 2 grand, you're either in a Ponzi scheme, something's happening. Like somebody's going to get screwed, and it's a matter of when are you going to get screwed. And I think most people
At that
don't
point.
run into that enough. Man, scams are constant, and there's an inflow of new people every single day.
Yeah, I mean, people, it's just greed at that point. We were talking earlier about psychology a lot, and I couldn't help but think about The Psychology of Money, which is a book that I've read, and I believe you've also read it. Um, money just kind of brings out the worst and very few times the best in us. It only amplifies what already exists, is kind of like my takeaway from that book. Like, if you're already a certain type of person, you add more money into that, you're going to fuel up that certain type of person. So it's all very interesting stuff, I suppose. But going back to this, broader context, according to Grok, AI crypto trading scams in 2026, they pretty much exploded. Chainalysis and other noted AI-enabled operations extract 4.5x more money on average, whether they're deepfakes, fake signal groups, fabricated dashboards, and autonomous agents are common. Okay, so that makes sense. Like, this is what I wanted to talk about. Like, that's a segue. Like, everyone is now doing agents, and I mean, this is the thing with being in fintech. One thing I've noticed is building in this space long enough. Like, even with the whole degeneracy that there was with meme coins, like you're never gonna find returns. Like if anyone is ever telling you, yeah, you have promised returns on your investments, I would be very careful.
Hmm.
The best thing I can look into that is actually legitimate would be like UBS or Fidelity, or maybe you're talking to some, quant firm. They're the ones who have enough expertise, enough data to be able to tell you where your investments are going to are projected to go.
They're all still gambles, and they're all still estimates. Like, it's just like
For sure.
Nvidia. Like Nvidia is kind of a guaranteed success in many ways. However, man, somebody could not make their payment. Like, the United States could go to war with Taiwan and China, and it could just,
There's always a risk.
yeah, there's always going to be a risk. You just never know where things are going to go. And if anybody says they can do it, like a quant should be a highly, highly intelligent person. The more intelligent a person is, generally, the more hedging language they use. So you should hear them say, hey, if everything goes to plan, based on current market conditions, this is the path that the numbers are heading. Based on us not heading to war, this is where the market should head. Based on the quarterly earnings hitting this, if everything goes well, like anybody that's intelligent's going to use hedging language more than just saying, yeah, this is definitively what happens.
Yeah, I think a good way to spot someone who's legitimately trying to help you financially, they're still going to tell you, like, listen, there's still a risk. Whereas someone who wants to just take your money, run with it, they're going to tell you everything you want to hear. Like, yeah, dude, if you give me $1,000, I'm gonna double it, no sweat. Probably gonna sound a lot more elaborate than I am, but my point is they're never gonna tell you like the risks, even if you ask the risks. And I mean, I ran into one person one time. Thankfully I was smart enough to not to give him my money, but I mean, I've been approached by MLMs as well. So I think the pattern that I've seen is they're always gonna try to sell you the upside or just the good outcome. And when you ask them on what would happen if it doesn't go that way, either depending on the person, if they're good at sales or good at talking to you, they might just say some shit that will make you think, oh well, I guess it's fine either way, like no sweat. Whereas maybe you're talking to a person who doesn't know better, like an MLM. A lot of them are amateurs, I suppose, but they'll 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 just stumble on their words, which, case closed. So I think it's very interesting. I mean, it's just another day here in crypto, I suppose, or at least back then when it took place. But yeah, just be careful where you put your money, man. Like, there's a lot of good places to put it. I think the best way to tell if it's a good place is if it tells you, you know, no, you're not guaranteed to make a profit. It's all about timing. It's all about you knowing what you're doing. Um,
A
and
little bit
there's a
of
legal
luck.
term for it and a financial term. There's definitely always luck involved, but you can always make your own luck too. Definitely. Um, I guess the last thing as part of this topic, you shared with me earlier this week that Robinhood released agents and Base, you know, I saw on their Twitter blow up as far as them enabling agentic MCP connectivity to trade on their app or just on their ecosystem.
Hmm.
So let's look at Robinhood agents, trading agents. Let me share my screen. So this I'm actually pretty excited about because I want my money to automate and move while I am sleeping. Hopefully not on the downside or me losing my money. So this came out a few days ago. Your strategy shouldn't sleep just because you do, and this is my whole selling point or my whole belief as well. Connect your AI agent to Robinhood Agentic account to explore trade ideas, build and rebalance portfolios, program custom tools, and place trades as your strategy evolves. So first time seeing this page. So this is the first time I'm seeing this page. It's in beta. Market access for AI agents available now through Robinhood's MCP server. So I'm pretty technical. Like I understand why we need an MCP server, but if it's so bad, like Like you and I have talked about how bad it is, Leon. Like why are people still fucking building MCPs? That's the one thing I don't fully understand.
I
Like
think
I
it's something
understand.
about token usage or something. Like there's a reason to it, actually. Like,
Yeah, I mean the setup for an MCP server is fucking horrible, which I mean it's not any different than most apps, I suppose, but or tech, but um
yeah.
not to
So
go too deep into the rabbit hole. But
yeah. So like, it's a little bit about tokens, but it's also like universal translator. Like every API doesn't, like APIs don't always describe like what endpoints are there. You have to kind of go and figure them out. And then
okay,
also MCPs provide a sandbox, like secure environment for them. Execute a
yep,
code without exposing root credentials or breaking compliance and all that. So I think that they're still there, but there does require a lot of like technical parts to it to ensure you can do it, and you're still using an API in the end. It's just setting it up is hard, and managing the enterprise security and governance is still a little complicated.
okay. Um, I don't like robo advisors. I feel like if you're just gonna give an LLM kind of like the market feed and sell that product, I'm like, I can just do that on ChatGPT unless there's like proprietary data that I don't have access to. Like, imagine if the Bloomberg terminal had like its own LLM and it tells you everything from whatever you can find manually on the Bloomberg terminal, but instead you can access it almost immediately with an LLM. Like, I think that'd be pretty cool. But I
It's just
guess
going
I asked you
headless. I think more than anything, all these things are
headless.
turning these apps into headless things. Like, I think more than anything, instead of like the new way to interact with anything is going to be a headless environment. You're going to type into a chat thing, it's going to execute your trades, do all of that. I'm a little less interested in like the AI component of it. Like the rebalancing's cool and all of that, but I think the ability to say, hey, I want to buy 15 shares of Tesla, and tell it, hey, versus before you have to go say, hey, what's the low price, what's the high price you're willing to do, what's the slippage, all that. You can just tell it, and then it can kind of give you some information, provide it to you, give you the analysis, and then you can say, okay, great, put an open call out for Tesla at 5% below market, buy it when it can. And if it drops below, that 5% and at 10% buy more, like it's going to give you the ability to natural language communicate, versus in the past you had to go do that, and it was a little complicated. And the reason why Charles Schwab is such a good trading place is because the fucking interface sucked. Like, Fidelity's interface sucks. Like Robinhood is such a good interface. I just think the next interface is chat. Like, if you can just tell it, buy 15 shares of Tesla, but buy it at less than 10% on the market, and keep that open until June 31st, like that's a great like thing, and it just goes and does it, versus you having to go put all that data into like some weird ass interface.
Yeah, because people don't want to download apps anymore. Like that's always been the case for a while. Like you say, "Hey, I created this app." People are like, "Oh, another app." Depending on whatever it is. But headless is very much the new meta. I wonder how long it'll stick. I wonder if it'll actually last. I think the next best example that I've seen is Banker. They still have their headless function of it. I mean, when it was working, because right now it's still not working. Like you cannot make trades. I mean, I think you can with Twitter, but I don't understand. They I haven't followed up with them. Anyways, um, what's cool is they have their headless. Like you can do their trades on Twitter, but you can also do it on like Telegram. And then you can go to their app and you can have a lot more functionality there. Like I think that's the approach I'm taking for Mintlock, and I think that's the approach a lot of people are taking as well, because the accessibility distribution side of it is just very powerful. Everyone's already on chatting interfaces. Like we talk a lot every day to people that we care about. It makes sense, like building on a chatting interface. I think is going to be a new meta. I wonder how long it'll last though.
I think it's gonna be the new meta more and more. Like Rivian vehicles now have an AI in it, and it's got an MCP that's running to the car. So
Rivian?
like MCPs, Rivian, everybody's doing more and more of this stuff, and I think computing's going to change to be. You're still going to have websites, you're still going to have apps, you're still going to have that stuff, but there's going to be an easier ability just to tell the computer, hey, organize all these trades, or every single month on the 14th and the 3rd, deposit $100 and then buy this stock. Like that that normally would have required you to go set up a recurring deposit, and then you would have to go set up a recurring buy for that, and then you would have to set up another recurring buy. Like all of that's quite complicated. Maybe took you 15, 20 minutes. You can just type it in and it does it for you in like 5 minutes. Like it's gonna make things easier. It's just like Salesforce going headless. Like you don't need to go and update all these fields. You can just tell it, hey, here's my meeting notes, here's the information on the client. Move it from a sales stage to an opportunity, make a deal. I'm going to sell them $15,000 worth of software, and it does it in 5 minutes versus something that would have taken you administratively probably 30 minutes to an hour to go enter all those fields. So I think that's the way for complex tasks to go, but you're
I
still going to
agree.
have those interfaces. And I think that's the cool part. Like the rebalancing, if you have Tesla and Nvidia, maybe you will only want to keep so much Nvidia shares because you're hedging against, risk. Like rebalancing that. I'm just more concerned about the AI being like the one that's making the decisions and going and buying a ton of GameStop shares. And you tell it, to AI
Yeah.
buy that. Like at some point you're going to get burned because somebody's going to outsmart the AI. Like human ingenuity always can outsmart an AI in some capacity.
Can you imagine? Yeah, no, I agree. AI still cannot think like we can. I don't think if it'll ever get there. I don't think Terminator's gonna happen type of future. But you mentioned that AI can be fooled by a person still. How do you think this could influence with the? We were talking about Kapow earlier. I think insider trading there could influence it pretty significantly. If there were to be an agent to be trading on similar instruments, how far do you think the damage could be?
I I think we're barreling towards a Great Depression sort of problem at some point. Like I don't think traditional recessions and traditional depressions are going to happen because of how GDP is less than the interest payment now on the US debt. Like I think it's a hard
Yeah,
mathematical equation for that, but I think at some point these AIs and all these tools could possibly just an accident crash stocks, crash shares. Like for example, if everybody's betting on Microsoft and everybody's using similar models, and all of a sudden Microsoft reports bad earnings, but their future, their future look, on all the description looks really good. You could see all these robots just buying up Microsoft and shooting it up to values that it shouldn't be at when, there. Then same thing on the opposite.
bless you.
Thank you. I
Okay.
just think there's a lot of risk on that side at some point. Like I don't fully understand it, but I see that there could be problems in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll find out, but I'm just thinking ahead. I'm like, yeah, we're probably not at a good point for letting an AI do all the trading. I don't know how Autopilot is doing it. They have the Claude only agent handling all their trades. They put 50,000 on it. They're pretty much up at this point. Um, but it's still a person handling it. Like it's not the AI doing everything on its own, but just having the person kind of be the middleman between the AI executing on the trades. I wonder how that'll go. I think AI trading is going to be a pretty big deal. Maybe the next big thing is going to be someone who enables agentic trading tools
I
because
I think at
headless.
some point we're barreling towards like I don't know if you read sci-fi or watch sci-fi, The Foundation on
Oh yeah,
Apple TV, how
I
they
do.
have a society that's highly advanced, but they ban AI, they ban robots, you know, because there was an
True.
uprising out there. Like I could see at some point AI becoming like we love AI, but if you go out to any of those commencement speeches, you go out to anyone in the real world, AI is a no. It's a devil. It's bad. It's there. I think a majority of people that I know that are not in tech are like, no, I'm not going to use AI. No, like it's a bad. I don't want to use it. Like I don't want data centers. I don't want this. Like I I can see a point where some people get stuck in an economy that is just different from where we are at, but also I could see that there could be at some point laws and regulations against using AI with trading and all this stuff at some point if there's some sort of crash. Like this is the
Like, yeah,
wild wild west of it, and I think we should take advantage of it and we should use it, but I'm fascinated to see where this stuff happens because yeah, Claude portfolio is up 14.6%. $18 million dollars currently invested. That's a small hedge fund. But if you have $200 million dollars moving all together with AI, you could very quickly fuck the market. If everybody dumped $200 million dollars of it, they become one whole whale moving together. Imagine, somebody, like MicroStrategy, and then all these people following MicroStrategy. If there was billions of dollars following MicroStrategy, very quickly MicroStrategy sells and somebody else sells. That's a huge market shock.
honestly, I think everyone in the entire, like all the AI leaders who sold the idea that AI is going to take your job, they're fucking idiots. They should have never done that. That is the worst PR you could ever have done. You should blame yourself, in fact, for all this negative PR and negative view that a lot of people our age and beyond that have with AI. Like, I think that was the biggest fuck up ever. And I'm actually mad at it because I'm like, that's not what AI is supposed to do. Like, if you ask me, AI is supposed to automate the boring shit. I am waiting for the day where I can have an AI or robot, whatever it is, do my dishes, do my laundry. Those are
Mhm.
tedious tasks I do every day that I do not give a fuck about. I only do it because I have to. Um, that is my whole thing with AI. And you know what? If it still replaces a maid, I mean, so be it. It does a greater good. It helps people do boring chores a lot more. But you shouldn't sell it by saying, yeah, this is going to replace people. Unemployment is going to reach 10% and above. Like, no, dude,
It's
nobody
not.
wants to hear that.
It's just like there's now data showing that tech hiring is increasing, but it's not from just tech companies. It's from all sorts of companies that now need technology people. It's just like
Yeah,
IT providers became a big thing because every single office has, you know, wires to deliver the Ethernet. Every computer, is connected to a network. There's security. Now you need IT companies. I think the same way that there's going to be more agencies doing, dev work. There's going to be more people doing this
yep.
development. It's going to look totally vastly different than what you were doing even 5 years ago. But it is
Dude,
still going
it
to be
really
a
is.
white collar ish job. It might not be paid as highly just because it's going to be lower barrier to entry, but
For sure.
I do think that all of them sold everybody a thing. Like I think Sam Altman, all of these people believe AGI is going to solve this stuff, and I don't think it's going to happen.
Nope, I agree.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have very political, strong opinions. Happy to talk more about it maybe next episode, depending what the market is at. But yeah, I mean, I think this is pretty much everything for today's episode. Let us know what you think. Subscribe to the channel if you already haven't. We're gonna come find you. Make sure you subscribe. If not, let us know why you wouldn't subscribe, dislike it, whatever. We have the
Yep.
dislike button, or is it still
Yeah.
removed? Okay, yeah, dislike it if you dislike it. Like it if you liked it. All right, but yeah, thanks for watching.
All right. Bye.